This video is only one part of an in-depth review, so check out the rest at thegoodride.com. Thanks for watching. Welcome to The Good Ride. I'm James Beastie, and for me, every day is leg day. And that's why you see all these percussion massagers on the table here. We have the Theragun Elite, the big boy, the Theragun Pro, the Hypervolt 2 Pro, and the Hypervolt Plus, my personal massage gun that I've been using for a while. And the reason why I'm doing this, it's kind of stepping outside of the snowboard world a little bit, but it is very relevant. I snowboard a lot all season, usually 100 days or so a year. And then all summer, I'm at the river wave, which is not like an ocean wave. It is very leg intensive. It's even more leg intensive than snowboarding. So for me, year round, I'm trying to keep my legs working, keep the butter on the popcorn. And that's why I'm doing these reviews. And this is gonna be a perspective of legs, quads, calves, bottom of your feet, little weird parts in your hip sockets, and hamstrings. That's what I'm gonna be mainly talking about. I don't do much upper body. These days, it's just all legs. And the reason why I'm doing this is I feel like most of my readers could benefit from this, especially those of you who go on 1-week trips, 2-week trips. You're not going all the time and you want to make the most out of your trip. Bringing something like one of these along helps reset your legs. You might think you don't even want to ride the next day, you're so sore. You go through a session or two with these and you wake up the next morning and you're ready to go again. Even do a little session on you before you head up to the mountain. It helps loosen everything up and it just makes your day better. I can't live without these now, so that's why I'm doing this comparison. First off, in terms of accessories, of course the Theragun Pro's the best. You have a wireless docking station that it's sitting on now. Spoiler alert, this is gonna be my buddy moving forward. That's why you see all these accessories. But you have the ultra soft pad. If you've just hammered so hard you can barely massage your legs, that works. You have kind of a similar thing here with Hypervolt. It's not as soft. I actually would prefer that better if I'm really sore. This is a little too soft for me. Then from there, you kind of have the next softest thing, and it's a big pad. And there's no equivalent to that with Hypervolt. Then you have this guy, and that's primarily what I've been using on all my massage guns. And it's a perfect comparison, almost perfect comparison to what you get on the Hypervolts. Now, I find this is softer than the Hypervolt 2 Pro. I find that it's massively softer than the Hypervolt Plus. This almost feels like a plastic ball, and the Hypervolt Plus is just everything's hard on there. Then from there, you don't have this on Hypervolt, but you have this little wedge, and this is kind of cool going along your IT band. Feels pretty good, and it's pretty hard, by the way. Then you have the thumb, really hard, only a little bit of padding. And then you have the cone, and that's even harder. It really gets into those tight spots. For the Hypervolt, you have kind of a bullet, which is in between the thumb and the cone. I find that the bullet works better than both these. I like this one the best, but out of all the Hypervolt stuff, that's the only time I really felt that. Then you have a solid plastic piece here that I love running up and down my IT band or any areas where I really want to hammer it. But I found that I mainly just use this ball on all these guys. Now, when it comes to Theragun, you can get a lot of different accessories. I have this big old guy that I usually start with, and then I slowly work down to these guys. Sometimes I use these guys for specialty stuff, but it's mainly that. I never use this guy. I also have a dual head attachment, and you can get any one of these accessories. You just buy one and then you just order a second one of whatever you have now. I love using these two balls on here. That's great. Or when I'm really trying to work kind of a really gnarly area that I really want to get in deep with, I use the thumbs. But overall, I'm finding that I'm just happiest with this to start with if I want to get a lot of surface area. So in comparison to the Theragun Pro, this dual-headed accessory, you have this with Hypervolt, and it's just a single plastic unit, 2 hard plastic balls. I haven't found a lot of use for this. Sometimes I go up and down the line of my calves with this, but I rarely use it. Again, I'm just kind of using the balls there. Now, when it comes to, I guess you could say, ease of use, ergonomics, I mean, nothing beats the Theragun Pro and the adjustable head. When I start on my quads, I put it like this and just slowly work down. Then when I'm working on my IT band, I'll go like this, kind of find an angle, and that works pretty well. Then I can go like this for other areas, like this. It's just a great thing to have. I thought it was a gimmick, but now it just makes life so much easier to massage. Second is the Theragun Elite. This thing's lighter, it's a little easier to handle. You can grip it from all angles, and it's so much better than the Hypervolts. This little triangle is just a great idea when it comes to massaging yourself. It's just less fatiguing, both of these, even this much heavier guy here. The only thing is sometimes I grab this, and once I accidentally grabbed here and popped out the battery mid-massage, but it's still fine, way better. Now this is better than the old Hypervolt Plus because it's just a much smaller handle, it's easier to hold. They're not terrible by any means, these are just much better in terms of being able to massage yourself. Now let's talk noise. We'll just start from the big boy and work our way down. I'm just gonna set it to 2400. Put it up next to the mic I'm using. Then we'll go to the Elite. 2400. Let's just go with the loudest sound because that's all that really matters. This guy's all the way up. Hypervolt 2 Pro. And then the Hypervolt Plus only has 3 settings. This guy's pretty loud, but at the time I bought this, it was one of the quietest on the market. And it's funny, all these massagers do a great job. When I get home, I lay on the couch and start massaging. I usually put something on the TV, and none of these I need subtitles with. Unless my kids are running around and making noise, then the combination of this, my kids, maybe one of them watching their tablet, that'll do it. But in terms of noise, they're all so much more reduced than they used to be that it doesn't really matter anymore to me personally. Now let's talk about stall force. I really don't like this test, but I'm gonna do it anyways because I wanna talk to you about how it works on my legs when I do it. So going with the big boy here. So here we are at 2400. It's up and going now. I can't really get this to stall. So let's go to the Theragun Elite at 2400. I can stall this out really easy and it shuts off. This is one of the only ones that I've stalled out when I was working my quads, and that's not good for me. Now this one, I've come very close to stalling out, but what I like about this one is you can see in comparison to the Theragun Elite, the Hypervolt 2 Pro comes back. So it doesn't turn off when it stalls out. So I like that. Now, surprisingly, I don't know why, if you look at the specs, everything says this is just a burlier device, But you fire this guy up to its third highest setting, supposedly a lot less stall force than this guy, but I cannot get this guy to stall. I don't know what it is, but there's some secret sauce going on in here that they don't have in this one. What I found, surprisingly, is this Hypervolt Plus. I don't know the way it's designed or what, but with this ball, in comparison, we used the same ball in each one of these when I was doing an A/B test. I just lay on the couch with all these and massage the same area. I found that this one stutters the least. So obviously we're not perfect. We're not massage therapists. We're not physical therapists. We're doing this to ourselves. So the angles can sometimes be off and kind of stutter and not massage you the way you'd like. This one stutters the least. And I really like that. It just, no matter what angle you put it in, to your quad or to your calf or whatever, it's always working. Secondly is the Pro. The Pro's really close, but it can stutter a little more. I don't know why. And I'm getting better at getting this not to stutter, but it's definitely second to the Hypervolt Plus. Now the Hypervolt 2 Pro, that stutters third. It's pretty good from most angles. And the Theragun Elite stuttered the most. And here's what's interesting too, is as the battery drains, I feel like this has less massage power. And that's kind of a real bummer because I usually do long sessions. I'm trying hard to get my legs functional again for the next day of snowboarding or surfing. At about half the battery power, it starts to feel less. I don't know if that's a real thing. I don't know if it's in my mind, but every time I use it, it seems that way and it stalls out even easier. So that's kind of a huge disappointment for me. I also love that all three of these, you can change out the batteries. And so I got this guy resting on a battery here. This is the easiest to change out. Let's turn this guy off and you pop this here. And it's not easy like the Theragun, but if you press this really hard and you pull this out really hard, it pops out and you can get a second one and replace it. Make sure you line this up and then you pop it back in and you're good to go. With this one, it's right here, but I don't know. I don't even want to know. But just know, read the manual and you can replace it. So the biggest thing here is how do all these massage? For me, I like a hard massage. I've had lots of surgeries, lots of physical therapy, lots of injuries where I need a hard massage. I used to really love this Hypervolt Plus, and I think this is second, but this is the best. This just seems to penetrate deeper and feel more like a real massage. Then the Hypervolt 2 Pro, that does a pretty good job. I was impressed with this. I felt like even though it doesn't have as high RPMs as the Hypervolt Plus, you can't really dig in as hard as you can with the Plus. I don't know why it's not spec'd that way, but this just seems weaker. I think they've improved the motor a little bit to do something else that just gives it a better feel, a more massage-like feel. It's getting closer to the Theragun Elite and the Theragun Pro, especially the Theragun Pro. But the Theragun Elite, I felt like I was getting a little more of a massage with this, but I wasn't able to go deep enough and hard enough to really get into those areas like I could with the Hypervolt 2 Pro, the Hypervolt Plus, or the Theragun Pro. And that was kind of interesting, but I think if you're not like me and you don't need something as hard, like for example, Steph uses the Theragun Prime, which is a step below this, and she doesn't need to press that hard or really do anything, so this was overkill for her. So it's all relative, but if you're somebody like me and you want a hard, really restorative massage and you're doing this every day throughout the year, it's the Theragun Pro. I just always felt better with this than all three of these. And then this was kind of the second, but it's so gnarly. And the ball, everything on this is so hard. All the tips are so hard that sometimes it can actually bruise you or make you more sore than you were before, especially when you first start out. So I like these softer tips with the Theraguns, and I can see why Hypervolt's getting softer after with the 2 versions than the Plus. So overall, if you can swing it, if you can afford it, go Theragun Pro. If you're looking for a deal and you want a really good massager, the Hypervolt Plus, it's probably the best right now. So I think for most people though, the Theragun Elite and the Hypervolt 2 Pro will be just enough and will do a great job. But for me, it's all about the Theragun Pro. That's the one I'm keeping. And if you're serious about snowboarding and you want the best recovery tool, it's this guy. But this is a heavy price to pay. But anyways, there you go. I hope this comparison from a snowboarder's perspective helps. All our reviews are a best effort, objective opinion from an average rider's perspective. There's no brand oversight. We're free to say whatever we want. We send back everything unless it's a favorite. Then we ask to keep those or straight up buy them. If you want to support us and if what we reviewed appeals to you, it helps if you buy through our links. So thanks for watching.